Welcome to the Hole in the Wall Business Podcast with Bill and James. I'm James Groves, and along with my business partner, Bill Dement, we want to share our journey as small business owners with you. As owners of Hole in the Wall drywall repair, we will attempt to peel back the curtain of owning a small business in the trade service industry and talk about the many adventures of owning a small business. Hey, Bill.
James, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You know what? I'm so excited. I'm always love it when we have a true small business professional come in. And I hadn't met today's guest before the show today, but just in the few minutes in the pre-show today, just the energy was really good. The vibe was really good. I just got a feeling this is going to be a really interesting podcast.
Yeah, it's funny because I was introduced to Courtney through Trish, both Air Force. And our listeners know Trish Murphy, our marketing smarty pants, marketing CMO. So it's neat to hear his story. He's got a fabulous business that I think that all of our listeners are going to get a kick out of kind of learning.
Absolutely.
And how he grows.
Yeah,
so
bring him on in.
Let me formally introduce Courtney Felton. He is the owner of Detailing Express. Courtney.
Welcome in.
Welcome, buddy.
Thank you. So grateful to be here today.
Yeah.
And excited,
Yeah. It's really funny because in the pre-show, we talked a little bit. We try not to burn all of our energy out in pre-show, but you've shared some really cool stuff.
He just got rolling, didn't he?
Yeah, and your background is so interesting. And just to think about where you came from, starting the detailing side of your business over 20 plus years ago, and then somewhere in the middle of your adulthood decided to go in the military. It's like, man, I want to hear all about it. So
yeah, he's an interesting guy.
Yeah, let's unpack that. Kind of tell people kind of where you came from, and we're going to dig into that business of yours.
Okay. Well, first, I'm originally from Fort Pierce, Florida. Born and raised. So I'm a native-born Floridian.
Nice.
Ain't that many of us.
Me too.
Yeah, you're in the minority.
Yes, I am. And so I was introduced to detailing. I might have been about 7 or 8 years old. And, even looking back then, I didn't think that it would take me this far in life, right? Because if you would have asked me when I was a kid, I was just going to the NBA. Yeah. That was the goal. But, of course, life had different plans for me. So I never forget, it was this one time I was playing in the yard and my uncle took this old Mazda. It was red and it was very dull. And it just something, when I seen how he, restored the finish of it, for lack of a better word or explanation, that was like my high.
It ignited something in you.
It ignited something in me. And I was always chasing that. And so even around like the city, there was a couple guys that was doing like mobile detailing or detailing. I would always find myself just studying them. If I seen someone in the driveway the next driveway over, I would just be watching like, man, what is he putting on those tires? How do I do it? And so it's just something that I just could never like walk away from. Mm-hmm. And so fast forward, by the time I get into high school, I'm doing like my coach vehicles, I'm doing my teachers, administrations, those type of clients, people in the neighborhood. So when I graduated high school, I decided I'm officially go in business. But I had a decision to make. Now, I'll never forget the conversation I had with my dad. My dad was like, hey, what you want to do, you going to college? We don't really got the money to pay for college. Or you can go into the military like your brother. So I was kind of business. I knew I wanted to do something in business early on. And from there, I just took a jump, took a chance. And listen, I didn't start with like a business loan and just had tons of money.
Sure.
I got a vacuum cleaner over there that we don't use in the house anymore. I got some rags, a mop bucket, I went to Family Dollar, and got like some Black Magic.
Went to the bank of bootstrapping.
Exactly. So when I say humble beginnings and I look back, the journey, it's been a long journey. But my first semester of college, I started officially the business. It was Felton Showroom Floor Mobile Detailing.
Wait, I thought your dad said you need to go into business or go to college.
No, he said either you go to college
or military.
Oh, okay.
But if you go to college, you kind of got to figure out.
You got to pay for it yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, that's what I missed right there. Oh, wow.
Figure it out.
And you decided I'm just going to start this business and go to college too.
Correct.
All right.
So what I did was, I never forget, I was able to get a Pell Grant using my mother's income. And so with that, I never forget, I found this Darch Dakota the ironic thing about it, it was a red truck. And as we get deeper in it, you'll see now I have a fleet of red trucks.
Right.
But back then, it was a Dakota. It was like a 93. I think the wheels, it needed new tires. It needed, I just needed to rock and roll with what I could rock and roll with.
Sure.
And so I started literally from there. I never forget, my mom met me over to the dealership. It was like a used car. It was one of those places now looking back, it's like, there's no way I'll buy a vehicle for that. But, we got going with that. And I started building up clientele before I know it. I had some business out on like A1A and, around the city. And we just kept going. But I just always remember that I had this idea like, man, it's just, this could be very lucrative. This could be a big thing. And, I just I couldn't figure out how at that point in life. Needed some more life experience, needed some more growth. Because, back then, you making money, you made a lot of cash. I blew a lot of cash.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you where most of the stuff went, but I always owned all my equipment and that kind of stuff. So I knew that, like, I always say that I was smart, but I was dumb at the same time, or just didn't really have like maybe some of the financial literacy parts of it. But so I did that for a few years there. I was rocking and rolling there. And then when I decided to move to Orlando to further my college, I got rid of that business. And I wasn't really planning on going back into business for detailing. I like, that's a stepping stone, kind of got my feet wet. Fast forward, 2012 or 2012, I'm working at Lowe's. And it's like a little part-time gig. I'm working at Lowe's. And from there, is one night, I was working in the commercial part. And I just kind of in this point where I was like, well, I don't really know what I kind of want to do. I want to do something, but I don't really know. And this guy just randomly comes in and he's asking me this question. We was talking for a little bit. He said, hey, man, what do you do outside of here? And I was like, well, now I just do this and, finishing up school, but I just do this part-time or whatever. He's like, and I told him about I used to have a business and things like that. He said, why don't you run your business here and work? Mm-hmm. I just never thought about it. It was like an epiphany for me. Mm-hmm. I said, I never thought about it. So then next thing I know, I go down the rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. And so from there, my dad was getting ready to retire. And so my dad was like, hey, I'm looking for something to invest in, right? So me and my dad was like partners for like 6 months, right? I think it's just, we had at that time, we had two different mindsets. He had something he wanted to do as well. So I ended up within 6 months buying him out his shares. We just to get started. Yeah. And so that's the origin of Detailing Express.
Right. So this year is, so what year is that? You're still in college or you're done with college at this point?
I'm done with college. So one thing about me with the college, I was a career college person. I don't have a lot of degrees, if you get what I'm saying. Uh-huh. So one of my struggles with college, and for any of the entrepreneurs that's out there that might be in these shoes, is that I always struggle with the ideal of kind of what college has presented. I always felt like, man, I could just go out and deal with myself.
Right.
Figure it out. So if you look at my transcripts, all of my business courses, great. I did great in them. But all the other stuff that I didn't care about, I was like, oh my goodness, I just got to get across the finish line.
I had a similar feeling when I went to college. I did graduate, but the thing I came away from college with was they're giving you assignments and a deadline, and you have to accomplish that. And you're a young person doing this.
Yes.
And high school is a different thing. But now that somebody says you need a 50-page report and it's done 2 weeks, it needs to be done 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
And it's drop dead. It taught me how to meet a challenge.
Meet a deadline.
And whether you get to come away with it with a degree or not, I think that those are invaluable things you pick up from school.
Correct. And I do have a degree. I have my AA, and honestly, with the military, I got 6 classes left.
Yeah.
And it's been over 10 years.
Okay.
But I did learn a lot of how to network in college. I did learn that, and that's something that I applied to the current company. And I have to say this, for the people that know my story that's out there, my first car was like, I paid $300 for it. That was my first mobile detailing unit.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my people that's back in Fort Pierce and my family and friends, we used to call it the Duster. I have to put that out there because that is a part of the story. It was a beat up knockoff of a 5.0 Mustang.
Love it.
Yeah, so
I just to tee up on the college thing, because I think college is important, but I don't think a 4-year degree is. For some reason in my brain, I know in working in the trades like we do,
yes,
you can make a really good living without having to. I mean, listen, I know people who spent 6 figures on college and are still making the same kind of money that a person who didn't go to college
correct,
is, right?
Yes.
So to randomly go to college and take underwater basket weaving or whatever they're going to take is a waste of time and money.
Left-handed puppetry.
There you go.
No.
But being able to harness that energy and create a career for yourself is important. And so whether you do that through college, I got one son, brainiac.
Yeah.
You know, summa cum laude, he's master's degree. He's now up near DC working, doing amazing. He had to do that. I got another son that couldn't finish his AA. But he's probably one of the best tradesmen you'll ever know. Yeah. Right. And he's going to do great for himself. So it's just a matter of meeting the right thing for the right person. And it used to be that parents were all about, you know, go to college,
get a good job.
You know, I think hopefully we're starting to move that with the Mike Rowe of the world, you know, just exposing the fact that, listen, you can become a very successful person, open your own business, you know, even as a tradesperson without necessarily, I mean, I don't have a 4-year degree.
And you know what, James, one of the things that's overshadowed by the college experience, and it's no small thing, is the amount of debt that these kids come out of school with. I'm watching the graduates this fall. There's probably 4 or 5 in my circle. Mm-hmm. And I'm going, all of them went to restaurants to go to work as soon as they got out of school.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah. How do you know what you want to do the rest of your life at 18 years old?
You don't.
I mean, you don't know.
You don't.
And then, so let's go ahead and point you in the direction where you got to drop tens of thousands of dollars a year, take loans out that you never want to be able to pay back.
Well, you're going to be 10 to 20 years paying them off.
It's a long time.
You got a good point there. I do think, and COVID showed us more of COVID showed us really what was really important as far as like trades, because everybody that I know that had their own business or trade, even though unfortunately the world was in shambles with, you know, and hit by COVID, but the ones that was doing, you know, like trades or offering some kind of service, they thrived, right? I was one of them.
We were essential.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, and then everyone that I know maybe had a lot of degrees. And again, I don't want this to come off as I'm against anyone with degrees, because you best believe I want my lawyer, my doctor, you know, my nurse. I want those guys, my CPA. I want them to be the best of the best. But I do think that there's a system that is outdated, right? To where, you shouldn't have to go and spend all this money. You can go and you can get loans for college, right? But why can't I have access at 18 to a loan to bet on myself and grow a business?
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't, no one's not going to give me the old money, but they're like, just here you want. Yeah. You want 40, 50 grand to go to college and party and whatever you want to do.
Sure. And the government will back the loan. That's why the banks were so happy to do that. Yeah. But it's interesting that you mentioned that, because there is a trend. Who's it? Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe, who is really heading this thing up. The guy from Dirty Jobs.
Okay.
He has a foundation, and he's not the only one. There are many others. The eyes are now being opened that these essential trades are the people who know how to do anything anymore are retiring and dying off.
Exactly.
And we cannot run a society just on white collar workers.
We can't, because just think about it. You could take a Chamber of Commerce, right? Majority of their membership, they might get big donors from the bigger, like trustees, those, entities. Yeah. But when you really think about it, the heartbeat of what moves that chamber is their day-to-day, the people that provide a service. As a business owner, a small local business owner, we get paid. I pay my guys. that money goes back into the economy.
Yep.
Instantly, the local economy.
Yep. They're paying rent, buying groceries.
Correct.
Buying cars.
Correct.
Buying
Car
gas.
loads, gas. But a corporate company can sit on the money. They don't have to. That's why you can see that, oh, we profited however many billions of dollars or however many millions this quarter. And again, nothing against anybody, but when you just look at it, it's like it makes more sense to me. So those type of things, when I was younger in college, I couldn't, one, I don't think I had the guts to just be like, I'm just finna do this now, go back and do this. I was kind of torn between the two. It's like, well, maybe I should do the corporate stuff, and I got a little bit of experience in that, but fast forward to me, the journey that I've been on, I'm like, man, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, you had your business going, and how did you kind of grow it into what it is now? Because I noticed that this is no small business anymore, right?
No, it's no small business. Actually, Trish gets on me. She be like, you be downplaying your business like crazy. I'm like, but I don't want to be that guy that just every time I meet you, hey, I'm this and we're this size. At the end of the day, I'm a regular guy. At least that's how I consider myself.
Yeah.
But when I moved here, I did have some family here, but I didn't have any ties like into the business world or.
And when would that have been? Around what year?
I came here in 07.
In 07, okay.
Yes. And so when I came here, it was like, there wasn't a lot of construction. Remember, we was in the meltdown.
Oh, boy, do I ever. Yes, I lived it.
Yes. So I just really, I started the business. I remember there was a time when I officially went in business that it seemed like I couldn't pay anyone to let me clean their cars. And I'm like, no, but I'm good. I had to, like no one wants to, nah. But persistence, just consistently, like never stopping, right? And that's what I did. If I was to compare it to any other one, I know I wasn't the only detailing company that started in 2012. I just refused to give up. It has to work. And so even when it was low times, but I just got out and I just kept like putting myself out there. That's how I ended up in Lake Nona. So fast forward, me and my dad was having this conversation. And I think this may have been after, he went into his new venture and I kept pushing forward. He said, listen, son, I know the internet is y'all like the internet, but there's nothing like beating that pavement. And I said, you know what? All right, you're right. I'm going to try it. And ever since that next day, I came out here and I just would go. I had a friend that she rode bikes. She's an officer. And she was going to bike week. She said, hey, can you come clean my bike up? So I'm going to go, and then I'm going to ride up the bike week afterwards. Okay, I came out, cleaned her bike up. Something told me, on the way out there, why don't you grab some flyers? Just grab all the flyers you can and just, like, maybe see the places the plazas or whatever. And at that time, it wasn't a lot out here, but find those places that you can leave your flyer. And that's what I did. I ain't have nothing else on my books. So I just, as I went, she stayed a little past Boggy Creek. So pretty much I drove. And anywhere that I seen that was a plaza or a store or office, I just went in there and dropped my flyer. Hey, I'm Courtney. This is my business. We in the area. We would love to have your service or opportunity. Leave it. And then sometimes as I get a couple lights down the road, somebody call me back. Hey,
is that right?
You just left this flyer. I need this. Can you do it today? And then I'm like, oh, let me check my schedule quick. Knowing there's nothing on my schedule. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do you a solid. And I got you, man. And so I just kept building up, just doing stuff like that. I tell these guys now, there's a couple of details that I do mentor. I say, hey, man, you just got to be consistent. If you get an opportunity to go in somewhere, you now have to work it. It don't, like, just because you put, it's one thing if you put a Coca-Cola soda machine on property. Well, you build it, they'll come.
Right.
But when you providing the service, it's never going to be the element, like that element of I have to kind of earn your service is never going to go away, you know? And so that's how I ended up in Lake Nona.
You know, Wes Robbins was on the program last week, and that's what his mantra is: just keep showing up.
Yep.
Because the minute you stop showing up, nobody will notice.
Correct.
So but they think about you because you're there. You're consistent. You're always there.
Yep. Correct. And that is even if you in politics, if you're the most consistent, people remember you. They just remember. And so the goal is to just always be remembered.
That's true. Did you know that there are over 140 million homes in the U.S.? 97% of them have walls and ceilings that are built using drywall. The drywall repair industry is simply enormous, valued at over $13 billion a year. We're hole-in-the-wall drywall repair, and for years we have been perfecting the art of repairing drywall, developing and refining our systems, and strengthening our brand. Our business model is simple, scalable, and easy to learn. We believe it's a real game changer. We are successful drywall repair pros who decided to take our repair business to a higher level, growing both our franchise training and support to industry-leading standards. You'll benefit from our vast experience helping your franchise hit the ground running and achieve success quickly. We'll give you access to our marketing team that has created strategic programs designed to get your phone ringing and booking new business fast. Join a fast-growing leader in an exciting dynamic segment of the home service industry by franchising with hole-in-the-wall drywall repair. Start building your own business and securing your own financial future today. So where are you now? Because I know you don't do just mobile detailing. You've got some other locations. Is that right?
Yes. So we're in the Truist building. So we have a contract with them, the 8th floor of the Truist building. And we have appointments there, as well as we have mobile where we cover pretty much Orlando and most of the surrounding areas. Mm-hmm. And
so specifically the Truist, there's an office there?
Correct.
And what are you doing there?
So we're detailing on site. So whether you're in the building or you're outside of the building, like, for example, we got guys that's in the building right now working, but we're part of the Citrus Club. And so now the Citrus Club, the staff and members, we have it set up to where we can do it. We can do a concierge type service where we'll take the vehicle from their building or any surrounding building. If they're unable to drop it off, we'll pick it up, and then we'll leave it, we'll detail it while they're working. And then if we need to bring it back, we'll bring it back for them. And so whether you want some, auto detailing or ceramic coating, and we can ceramic coat the whole car, the interior and the exterior. There's a lot we can do. We are looking to bring in maybe like a tint expert. That way we can provide that type of service on hand. That way it's a one-stop.
For window tinting?
Window tinting, yeah.
Yeah. So how many cars a day do you typically do out of that facility?
Out of that facility, on a decent day, we do about 10 cars a day. Yeah. Just depends on what they need. Because we have a subscription that we started back in like 2019. And when we started that subscription, that's been like, we've been able to grow that program we got a lot of accounts in that program.
So take just a minute and tell us how the subscription program works, because I think it's a great idea.
So basically, we have it set up to where you get two details a month, right? And we got a couple of different packages, but you get 2 details a month, and it's a bi-weekly. And so with us, with our subscription, you don't have to book or try to get a hold of your guy again. It's all set up through our appointment system. So you already know when your appointments are. If you need to reschedule, we have a dedicated funnel for that you just reach out to, and they'll get you rescheduled. But you get your 2 details a month. With the program, you also get access. So like, say you buy a new car and you're like, hey, I got this new car. The dealership, they offer me this coating thing. I don't want to get it from them because, of course, it's expensive. Do you do it? Yes, we do. And guess what? You also get a discount on your coating and those extra services, right? Because you are a member. So that's how it works. It's bi-weekly. They pay, it's auto debit on the 1st or the 15th. Just depends on when you start the cycle. But that program started, the first 10 was the hardest.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But after that, most people are like, wow, this makes sense.
It's just set it and forget it for the customer. Isn't
correct.
It?
Now that's mobile and the brick and mortar?
Yep.
Okay.
So we have them both. And then we do have one program or one plan that would allow you to, let's say you work downtown Okay, you're downtown mainly, but we got it's called the Flex. But guess what? What if you're gonna be in Lake Nona at Eagle Creek Golf Course, or you live in a country club, wherever you live, Laureate, wherever you live at, we could now move it from here to there. Like we would support that.
Hmm.
Oh, you're not gonna be here on your Friday? Where you gonna be at? Okay, we got a truck that's available that can take care of you at 9 a.m. Does that work for you? Oh, 9 a.m. don't work? Okay, we have another guy that can take care of this. Like, what works for you? And then now we still are able to accommodate you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Wow, that's terrific.
So you're doing some pretty high-end cars then too, right?
Oh, yeah. We got our clientele. I mean, the Vendedors, the McLarens, even higher end than that, because we do travel as well. So we're part of AOD, which is the Art of Detailing, based out of Texas. Some buddies of mine started basically a fleet service company. And so that requires me to travel at times because we do like Amelia Island and we go out to St. Simon and Pebble Beach Car Week. So I do move around at different times for those, but those are like all big shows.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go, and I generally handle like the BMW account, and that's corporate BMW. So that I just bypassed the dealerships and all that. When I was in Pebble Beach last year, the CEO of BMW was there on both sides, the Germany and the U.S.
Really?
So I got the chance to do an unveiling for the 2025 M5 touring for the U.S. market.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we prepped that and we got it ready to go. So you're doing those type of things, and when you and that was at Pebble Beach.
Yeah.
So what BMW does is, well, a lot of those companies, they'll do that. They'll basically rent out a house. They gut the whole house, and that's the BMW house. And then like they put it back, they have about a month. So they spend a lot of money, but there's a lot of people come, and like for you to get an invite, you gotta spend a certain dollar amount annually with BMW.
Yeah.
And the same with Jaguar, same with Maserati and some of the other bigger major brands, luxury brands.
I did hear you mention Amelia Island, and I know they have a classic car show up there, the Concours or something they call it.
I did.
And so makes me wonder, I'm curious, are you working on exotic and classic cars as well?
Yes. So, for example, I was just in Amelia Island. This was our second year doing it. So, it's got to the point, the cars get so high end. I look at a Bugatti. I don't have one, but I look at a Bugatti. It's like, oh, that's just a Bugatti, man.
Oh.
Come on, man.
Oh, my.
You might get a new guy. He's like, oh, man, that's a Bugatti. And I'm like, it's just a Bugatti. Come on, man. We're here to do work. Like, we had this one Ferrari. It sold for, it was a 60s Ferrari, one of the earlier ones. And it sold for like $9.4 million.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. So we've talked about just detailing, ceramic coating. I got to know, what are you doing to these cars? I mean, for crying out loud. I mean, it's just a vacuum and a wash, right? Or what are you doing to make these things just sparkle so?
Well, I always tell, all right, so if you're around me and I'm working, you know that I love music. And in my heart of heart, I think I can sing, but I can't. I think that's my secret sauce. I put the passion into what I'm doing. The feelings, the vibes that I get from the music when I'm working, that's what I think the secret sauce is. But we are just, in a professional standpoint, we're taking our time, and we've been, very thorough and understanding. So you take, for example, when we up there and we represent AOD, right, is our network of detailers. One, you just can't buy your way into AOD. You just don't get, you just can't say, hey, yeah, I'm available. It's a vetting process.
Yeah, you earn it, don't you?
You earn it, yes. But what happens is the network of guys that are associated with it, everyone has like me, but duplicated in their areas.
Uh-huh.
Some might be bigger than others. So you're looking at it from a business standpoint, business mind standpoint, and professional. So let's say if you got a 5-man team, and you might have over 100 years of experience collectively, like together.
Right.
So, but we do some everything. But when we go to the shows like that, our job is more so to prep it and just get it, make sure it's absolutely ready, because the concourse is one part, and we do have, like this year we had our BMW clients, we had our Maserati clients and Lotus clients that we was servicing on the concourse. But we also do Broad Arrow Auction, which is owned by Haggerty.
Yeah.
And so that's when the cars that sold for those top dollar amounts, we're prepping these very high-end numbers cars, some Porsches you never seen before, Ford GTs, you know, 1 out of 67 in the world, you know, a 40-year-old car. We're basically doing whatever needs to be done to make sure that car can go across the block and, like, you don't diminish the value. That's another thing, too. Everyone wants to get into, like, oh, it's cool to do this high-end stuff, but you got to be able to understand that if I go and I look at a 40-year-old paint, 25-year-old paint, I got to understand time period-wise, what's the best way to restore that paint? You know, can you just, if it's an all original paint, you can't just put you can, but you shouldn't. You can't put just a ceramic coating on that because guess what? It's no longer original.
No, and it's only original once.
Yes. Yeah. So it's no longer original. So you got to understand how to approach those type of things. And so, but having that type of experience, it helped me build upon what the knowledge I already had from my experience. Just something simple as a Bugatti, right? You don't, let's say you're wiping the windows, you don't just pull the wiper blades up. Those things aren't meant to go up like that. So you gotta make sure you slightly move it in a certain way, you know, on the windshield. Because if not, you pop that, man. That could be a $20,000 blade. Listen, we all insured and bonded, but you don't want to hit your insurance for that.
No, you're not going to last long doing that.
You're not going to last long. Then they're not going to want to insure you anymore. And it's like, but
that's a lot of pressure.
That's a lot of pressure.
So probably just going through, you probably cringe to see all these car washes pop up on every corner now down the state.
Yeah, they're popping up, but at the same time, it helps the business because when they just go so often, when their customer goes regularly, and then they get a taste of what we're offering or like the things that they don't really do there because they are a car wash, a lot of times that help us. And then, like, say, being in a community like Lake Nona. Now, we could service other communities, but Lake Nona has always been like our backyard for some time. So being that we have a presence, you know, and, you know, being more of a leader in the industry, in the area, it's kind of like they run from the car wash to us. So the car washes kind of help us.
Yeah.
So,
it raises awareness.
Yes. Maybe I should send them like a Christmas gift.
So I'm curious, what does this look like 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, Detailing Express?
2 years, 5 years from now, it's, you know, Florida goes between being a red state and a blue state, but all our trucks are red. We're going to make it a red state because you're going to see so many trucks on the road. We're looking to grow out, continue to grow out our commercial side, the division of the business, as well as the subscription. We expect that to be big for us as well. So we'll eventually push out into more areas across the state. Maybe hopefully so right now for the commercial side, we currently service UPS, everything from Stewart all the way back to pretty much the Florida-Georgia line. We're looking to expand that partnership. It's been about a good solid year for what we've been doing for them, but we've had a working relationship for the last 2 years. And we simply installed this coating that, you know, takes their old faded UPS vehicles and we bring it back. So kind of like restoration, but it's a lot more feasible for them. It makes more sense because they don't have to take the time to take it in and repaint it. And then when you repaint, you got to think about all the lettering, the stickers that goes on there. But now we can just, you know, if it's in decent enough shape, even with all the scratches, we go in there with that coating and like we bring it back to life.
Yeah, that's cool.
So how many, you've got some brick and mortar. How many trucks do you have got on the road?
Right now we have 5 trucks that service in this area. We'll most likely have, by the end of the year, we should be looking at like another one to go on there because one thing you have to remember is that if you running full 5 trucks fully running, you got to have some floaters. So now we're learning the things kind of backwards, but luckily we've been able to pivot and support where we needed.
Yeah.
So how have you grown to that point? Are you just buying trucks as you need them? Are you growing? What's your motto for growing?
Okay, so remember how I was telling you about the subscription?
Yeah.
That came out of like one of the hardest summers. So in 2018, I was deployed. I came back, business kind of was like, so I had to kind of put some work into it. And so that summer in 2019 was one of the hardest summers that I had in a long time. Like literally I was going into my savings and then I was looking low like, I don't know what to do. So I had a conversation, just throwing some ideas around with my cousin who also has a detailing company here locally. And he floated this idea to me. And so from there, the plan started. So when you fast forward into, I was preparing to be ready for the next hurricane season. Cause that's what hurt my business the year in 2019. Even though COVID happened, no one knew that COVID was going to happen. So instead of me getting my test during the summer, I got it like not even 6 months, and it just took off. So by the next summer, I was in a position to just go buy another second truck. Now I was scared because I'm like, man, I just went through everything I went through. I finally started making my money back. Now I'm finna give it away and I got to really bet on someone else to just be consistent. That was very, very scary. But I ended up moving forward with it. And then from there, it just like, oh, I can do this. I can do multiple trucks.
Yeah.
I can do more units. So when everyone was buying new cars, because of the car market, I just kept buying new trucks. And not even new trucks, just I find an old truck that looks good, paint it and put some lettering on it and like keep it rolling. Then I started creating more cash flow for my business. And then I started growing. So that's kind of how I was able to make the pivot. And then once I got past the first phase of adding that second truck, by 22, I was adding another truck, just keep on, like just keep buying them, and you could train your guys on how to use and you put standard operating procedures in place. But that's what helped me kind of, grow and just evolve.
Yeah, we find that as a common story. That's the bridge that entrepreneurs have to cross is I'm no longer driving the truck, doing the work. I'm at arm's length from it and I'm doing that work through somebody else.
Correct.
And there's a level of trust and confidence you have to have in that person. And there is some uncertainty there.
Yeah, it is.
But the guys who can sort of cross that bridge like you did once you did it and saw that it worked. We had the same thing here years and years and years ago because I did all the work. I used to answer the phone. I signed the check. I did everything that got done here. I did it.
Yeah.
But slowly I just released all that and I found people that I could trust. And these are, I think, the mark of a successful business person is that they have that ability to kind of let go a little bit.
Yeah.
But not release the oversight.
Correct. And then, you have to have that conversation with yourself. What's the overall purpose? What are you really trying to accomplish? Because you can be the best detailer, you could be the best plumber, but if it dies with you, what's your legacy? No one is going to remember that. But you can have something that's, look at your money that's in your pocket. You got guys that's been dead for hundreds of years. That's a lasting legacy. Yeah. So, it's kind of trying to find a way and then hey, I want to buy my time. So, I have a family, my kids. I want to be able to travel and do stuff with them. Yes, you can make all the money, but what happens when you're sick? When those things happen. So I had to have that kind of coming to Jesus moment and just realign my thoughts and my vision of everything. You're not going to just you providing the service, you're not going to make $1 million providing the service with you as a one-man show.
Can't do it.
Right?
Nope.
Not generally. It's going to be hard. You got to have a team. Even with being able to expand, that's going to be a collective effort between, whether it's different partnerships and things along that line, but you got to have partners. You got to.
Beautiful.
So I want to touch on something we kind of jumped through a little bit because we talked about it pre-show, but we've not talked about it on the air.
Okay.
Is at what point in this building your business that you decided to go into the military?
All right. So I went in the military a little bit later. So prior to when I told you with my dad, the options he gave me, of course, I had to figure it out myself. Then I come back, come full circle. I always felt like I had the need or the desire to serve. My dad was in the military, my grandfather, my brother, right? So I come from a military background, and I have cousins and other relatives that have served. And so I just had a burning desire. And then I tried to be active in the community, and it just never was fulfilled. So fast forward, I'm in my late 20s, I was going through a separation, which led to a divorce. But I had, as I'm really trying to figure out what is my next phase is going to look like, it just hit me one day. I was just driving. It's like, why don't you go in the military? You're in great shape. It's definitely, you don't have to worry about a lot of things that you might, you're free. Like, you guys are separated. What's holding you back? So that day, I went and got a Asphalt for Dummies book. I gave myself like 2 weeks. I somewhat studied it. I went in and I got connected with a recruiter. I pretty much went in and did my Asphalt test. I qualified for the Air Force, and the rest was history. And I decided to do that at that age. It was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. So even if you're thinking about, like, you feel like, oh, I'm not 18 or I'm not young, or you don't think you're young, when is your time to go? It's the right time, because it helped me in so many ways. It took me out of the, my divorce, what we was going through. It was some toxic things going on.
Right.
But it took me out of that environment and gave me a whole new,
You got a reset, didn't you?
A reset, yes. And so I was able to evolve. Now I'm meeting new people. I'm also learning new things, because when I look back, being in the military and being an NCO, as I moved up the ranks and became a tech sergeant or technical sergeant, I actually learned a lot about doing that whole career, about logistics, moving people, understanding the importance of time, like you were saying earlier, meeting a deadline, and one thing we always say in the military, in the Air Force, flexibility is the key to air power. So you have to be flexible. So all these different things that coming towards me as adversity in life, or that might be obstacles, as I'm learning and growing in the military, is help giving me the baseline to that, help me get in that phase. My next phase of life is setting me up, because everything I do now from a logistical standpoint is from the Air Force. The standard operating procedures. Well, we do a lot of that, right? And so now I can implement that into the business, right? So because I can't run all those trucks by myself. Like, my guys are working right now while we're on the podcast.
Right.
And so, and I know you guys will understand it, because you had to cross that.
Our trucks are running too.
Correct.
Right.
And
So while you joined the Guard, you didn't do active duty.
yeah, I was reserve. Yep.
Reserves, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had to be deployed occasionally.
Yes.
So is your business still running while you're gone, or did it kind of shut down while you're out?
It was like kind of partial running, but it wasn't full capacity like when I was here.
Yeah.
And so that's what made me, start looking at other options of alternative ways to keep revenue streams, subscription, building that out, and just I changed how I start training my guys. Like, hey, let me show you how to streamline. Like, I know you're not going to be the type of detailer I am, that I've been, at that time, 15 years in, got a lot of years in, but I can take you in maybe 2 months and, show you to be at least good enough to go out and do a really good bare minimum job.
Yeah.
And so that's what I started implementing. So not only did I change the, kind of pivot and really push my subscription, but then I started changing, and focusing on like streamlining everything, so that the guys that never detailed before,
Yeah.
I can teach them.
You got to get them from zero to competent as
soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
And then also trust them to go out and drive the truck.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know when we talked first time here, we talked a lot about just kind of the growth of your business and creating, all your SOPs for training and such, because one of your inquiries was about franchising. Right?
Yes, correct.
So have you thought about that at all? Is that something, do you think you want to be a franchisor someday?
Yes, definitely. Back to what you asked me earlier about the 2 to 3 years, we definitely, we would like to be franchised. We know it's a lot of work. Not only is a lot of money, it's a lot of work. A lot of things got to be put in place. But we would like to be franchised. That's going to also help us be able to push out into other areas of the country, the state, into the country. And so what we're doing now is just, we're securing these national brands. Like I think I mentioned about having the dealership that do heavy equipment, Brits and JCB. So they just signed on with us and pretty much got for the whole state of Florida for them.
And so what are the Bricks and JCB?
Brits and JCP. So they do heavy equipment.
That's heavy construction equipment, right?
Exactly, yes. So that's what they do. And we restore the vehicles, well, not vehicles, the equipment. And then we also, we do some detailing and prepping them for, customer pickup, when they're ready after the sale. So they're very excited about what we're offering them or what we providing for them. So that's going to be a big thing for us in the future. So that's why we want to go ahead and build those divisions out, those 2 divisions. And then, that'll be an easier, no-brainer in the road when we getting ready to go ahead and cut that check and franchise. Right. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's 2 phases to franchising, right? One is you've got to create the franchise, which is get your IP. So all of your trademarking, all that good stuff.
Okay.
Building your training, building your operations process. You got to figure out how to get somebody from here's my check to they start cashing checks.
Correct,
right?
correct.
And then once you kind of get that ready, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm franchising. You're like, well, now I got to sell them. And now I got to get in front of people and then you got to, build a process to actually get them sold. So, yeah, listen, it's I don't want to share too much because I don't want to discourage you because there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
But it's doable.
It's very doable, and it's way to just grow your brand without you having to manage every single location. Satellite locations are difficult to run sometimes. You don't find the right people. Unless you're buying someone else's business in Jacksonville or in Fort Lauderdale.
Correct.
Already
turnkey
situation.
Yeah.
That's difficult to manage because we did it. And boy, something broke down and they're in Alabama. You're like, yeah, call a tow truck, man. No, they rely on us to do that. So
correct.
So I encourage you to keep looking into that and whatever we can do to help you with that.
Absolutely.
We love to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate it.
So as we kind of wind down, I really want to focus strictly on the new small business listener. Okay, somebody who's trying to figure out what they want to do. Either they want to go into business for themselves or they already have a small business that they just kind of started whimsically, right?
Okay.
Kind of like how we all started, let's just start a business,
Yeah.
And it took you years to bootstrap this all the way up, buy older vehicles, develop your brand, your process. It can be discouraging, right? So is there a, 60-second motto, just a pep talk? When you talk to somebody about business, whether it's in detailing or not, is there some advice that you would like to give people?
Well, definitely. No matter what you want to do it. That's it. Just do it. And I think someone said it earlier, or maybe it's in the pre-talk. Keep showing up, be consistent, and present your business not where you're currently at, but where you're trying to go.
Oh, I like that.
Yes, the rule of 10 is a real thing. It takes you about 10 years of figuring it out to get where you want to get to. But man, when the fruits start coming in and you start really seeing and getting the benefits, it's going to be so worth it. So, man, I slept on the air mattress, right? I slept on the air mattress for some time, right? But I had to get uncomfortable, so that I didn't settle or be, complacent about where I want to go and where I'm trying to accomplish. There's a time when I was a single guy, I just had my work van. And my attitude was if she can't ride in the van, then she can't ride with me, period.
Right.
So just stay focused, stay locked in. Do something that you really love. Try to figure out how to enterprise it and follow your passion. That way you can understand the difference between establishing a business as well as what's a great trade. Well, I don't want to say trade, but like a hobby. So that's what I think. That's what my advice would be. Just don't give up. Keep pushing. Believe in yourself. It's going to get lonely. There's a lot of people going to second guess you. No one is going to want to follow you. They're going to look at you like you're crazy. But if they start looking at you like you're crazy, chances are you're on the right path.
Yeah.
Like
you remind me of a quote I heard one time. I'm only small if I allow someone to make me or think of myself as small.
Yeah.
So you believe in yourself and you keep pushing yourself.
Correct.
And you don't let somebody else make you small.
Yes. Read some books, man. There's a lot of great books out there. Think and Grow Rich was one that changed my life. As a Man Thinketh, that's the richest man in Babylon. You just find one of those books and alter the way you perceive life and perceive yourself, you know. And those books, when I start applying those principles, man, that's my life. Just, I know you gave me 60 seconds and I went over, but
no worries.
We expected that already.
My life just, you know, it went in a whole nother trajectory, you know, and you're going to have those ups and downs, man. Like, you make more money, then you're going to figure out, okay, I'm here. Now my lifestyle changed. And I got to make more money to offset that. And it's always going to be like that.
Yeah.
You're making it. You never make it. You're making it. But the stakes get higher. The rewards get better.
Well, I don't have any doubt that you are going to make it and continue to make it. You got such great energy.
Oh, yeah.
Insights. Good stuff, man.
I appreciate it.
So if our audience wants to get a hold of you for some detailing, especially in the Central Florida area, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Well, you could book through our website at www.detailingexpress.com. That's the best way. It has everything. You know, if you need to call and speak to someone, you can have the number on there as well, our customer service line. So we have the support. We run everything that way. That way we can streamline everything on our end.
So detailingexpress.com. All right. Very good. Courtney, thank you for showing up today.
Thanks for coming out today.
Sharing your story.
Appreciate it. Love having you.
Thank you for your service, and can't wait to see your business grow.
Absolutely.
I appreciate being here, and I have to leave him with this. If you want to look like success, got to book Detailing Express. That way you'll never forget our name.
All right.
Absolutely. All right. Very good. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Another really good show. We'd like to thank you for listening to the Hole in the Wall Business Podcast with Bill and James. We'd love for you to join our Facebook group and keep the conversation going. If you'd like to learn more about us and our business, check us out at holeinthewall.com. If you'd like to learn more about how to start a Hole in the Wall franchise, go to holeinthewallfranchising.com.